Have you ever stopped to think if there are subtle mistakes undermining your efforts to pay off debt? Well, stop wondering because we've got the answers for you. In this video titled, Avoid These 10 Debt Payoff Mistakes for Smooth Financial Success, we're uncovering the top 10 blunders that could potentially be holding you back from achieving financial freedom. Stick around because each tip is crucial for your journey. And while you're watching, feel free to share any mistakes you might recognize down in the comments. Give Luxo-Life some love and let's start steering your finances in the right direction. Number 10. Not giving might prolong the path to debt freedom. If you're not giving, then you're making a mistake. Why? Because giving isn't just about money. It's about generosity, kindness, and community. Even during tough times like debt repayment, giving can bring a sense of fulfillment and purpose to your life. It's a way to connect with others and make a positive impact, both on them and on yourself. When you're focused solely on paying off debt and neglect giving, you're missing out on an opportunity to improve your overall well-being. Giving can lift your spirits and remind you of the abundance in your life, despite financial challenges. It's a powerful way to shift your mindset from scarcity to gratitude, which can make your debt repayment journey feel less burdensome and more meaningful. To correct this mistake, consider incorporating giving into your financial plan. It doesn't have to be a large sum of money. Small acts of kindness and generosity can make a big difference. Look for ways to give back to the people and the community around you, whether it's by volunteering, making a donation to a cause close to your heart, or just lending a helping hand to a friend in need. Not only will it enrich your life, but it can also inspire others to do the same. Number 9. Continuing to invest while in debt could divert funds from debt repayment. Investing is important, but continuing to invest while you're in debt might not be the best move. Why? Because when you invest while still carrying debt, you're essentially splitting your financial resources. Instead of putting all your available funds towards paying off debt, you're diverting some of it towards investments, which could slow down your debt repayment progress. Prioritizing debt payoff before assuming investments is crucial because it allows you to focus your financial efforts and resources on one goal at a time. You can avoid high interest payments and have more money available for future investments if you take care of your debt first. This strategy helps you build a stronger financial foundation and puts you in a better position to invest with confidence once your debt is under control. To correct this mistake, consider temporarily pausing your investments until you've paid off your debt or at least made significant progress towards it. Redirecting those investment funds towards debt repayment can accelerate your journey to financial freedom. Once your debt is cleared or more manageable, you can resume investing with a clearer mind and fewer financial obligations weighing you down. Number 8. Maintaining your current way of living could impede your debt repayment efforts. Live below your means. That's the mantra for successful debt repayment. If you're not willing to adjust your lifestyle, you could be slowing down your progress in paying off debt. Why? Because the amount of money you have available to pay off debt is directly impacted by your spending habits. If you continue to live beyond your means, you'll struggle to free up enough money to make meaningful progress in your debt. It's crucial to prioritize debt payoff before resuming investments. Why? Because when you continue to invest while carrying debt, you're essentially diverting funds away from debt repayment. Investing is important for long-term financial growth. But when you're in debt, it's essential to focus on clearing that debt first. By prioritizing debt payoff, you can eliminate high interest payments and free up more money to invest in the future, putting you in a better financial position overall. To correct this mistake, you need to make some adjustments to your financial priorities. Reevaluate your spending patterns to find places where you may make savings. Seek to reduce your expenses and accumulate extra cash for paying off your debt. Think about reducing your monthly expenses or doing away with non-essential spending. By making these changes, you can accelerate your progress in paying off debt and get closer to financial freedom. Number 7. Reducing total debt may take longer if the highest interest loans are paid off first. If you're focused on paying off your highest interest debts first, you might be delaying your overall debt reduction progress. Why? Because this method, while it makes sense logically, might not be the most efficient way to tackle your debt. The debt snowball strategy, on the other hand, recommends beginning with the smallest debt first. This approach gives you a sense of progress and accomplishment, which can be motivating and keep you on track with your debt repayment goals. Regardless of interest rate, the debt snowball strategy pays off your lowest bill first while you make minimal payments on your remaining debts. You apply the payment amount to the next smallest obligation when the smallest one is paid off, and so forth. This method focuses on building momentum and gaining confidence as you eliminate each debt, one by one. It's a psychological approach that prioritizes the emotional satisfaction of making progress over the purely logical approach of tackling high-interest debts first. To correct this mistake, consider adopting the debt snowball method for your debt repayment strategy. Start by listing all your debts from smallest to largest, regardless of interest rate. Then allocate as much extra money as you can towards paying off the smallest debt while making minimum payments on your other debts. As you pay off each debt, celebrate your progress and use the momentum to keep pushing forward towards becoming debt-free. Number 6. Credit card balance transfers may not always lead to effective debt reduction. While credit cards are useful instruments for cost management, transferring balances to pay off debt may not always be the best course of action. Balance transfers frequently have transfer fees and promotional rates that expire, even if they can provide momentary relief by combining debt into a single card with a cheaper interest rate. In the long run, this could mean paying more, particularly if you can't pay off the transferred sum before the introductory period expires. To correct this mistake, consider alternative strategies for reducing debt that don't rely solely on balance transfers. One strategy is to concentrate on creating a budget and cutting costs in order to free up additional funds for debt repayment. By cutting back on non-essential spending and prioritizing debt payoff, you can make more meaningful progress towards becoming debt-free without relying on balance transfers. Number 5. Using home equity line of credit might impede debt repayment goals. While it might seem like a quick solution to pay off debt, it can actually impede your debt repayment goals in the long run. This is because by borrowing against your home, you're essentially increasing your overall debt load, which can put your home at risk if you're unable to make payments. To avoid this mistake, it's important to explore alternative options for debt repayment that don't involve borrowing against your home. Rather, think about making a budget and making spending cuts to free up additional funds for debt payments. You could also look into debt consolidation strategies that don't involve putting your home at risk, such as personal loans or balance transfer credit cards with low or 0% introductory APR offers. Number 4. 401k loans can disrupt the journey to debt freedom. You don't want fees, penalties, and taxes, right? Did you know that when you borrow from your retirement savings, it can come with some serious consequences? If you leave your job for any reason, whether it's by choice or not, the loan becomes due immediately. If you can't repay it, you could face penalties, fees, and taxes, leaving you in an even worse financial situation than before. To avoid this mistake, it's important to explore other options for debt repayment that don't involve dipping into your retirement savings. Instead, consider creating a budget and cutting expenses to free up extra money to put towards debt repayment. Examine debt consolidation techniques or discuss your choices with a financial expert. There are usually better alternatives than borrowing from your 401k. Number 3. Debt consolidation can sidetrack debt payoff efforts. Consolidating debt is not always the lifesaver that it seems to be. While it might seem like a convenient way to manage multiple debts, it can actually sidetrack your efforts to pay off debt. How? In order to pay off your current debts, debt consolidation frequently entails taking out a new loan, which might prolong the term of your loans and leave you in debt longer than if you had paid off each item separately. It's crucial to look at different debt repayment options in order to avoid slipping into the debt consolidation trap. Instead of consolidating your debts into one big loan, consider focusing on paying off each debt separately. To start saving more money for debt repayment, make a budget and make spending cuts. Then, prioritize your debts based on factors like interest rates and loan terms, and tackle them one at a time. Number 2. Debt settlement may hinder progress towards becoming debt-free. Debt settlement is also not always the solution it's cracked up to be. It may seem like a good strategy to pay off debt, but in reality, it can make it harder for you to get debt-free. How? Well, debt settlement companies often fail to deliver on their promises, leaving you with wasted money and little to show for it. They may promise to negotiate with your creditors to lower your debt, but in reality, they might not be able to achieve the results they guarantee. To avoid falling into the debt settlement trap, it's important to be cautious when considering these companies. Instead of relying solely on debt settlement, consider exploring other options for debt repayment. To start, get in touch with your creditors immediately to talk about your possibilities for repayment. A lot of creditors are open to working with you to create a payback schedule that works with your spending and financial constraints. Number 1. Waiting on someone else to pay off debt hinders personal accountability and progress. The biggest mistake you can do is wait on someone else to pay off your debt. When you rely on someone else to take care of your debt, you're giving up control over your own financial future. Instead of taking proactive steps to manage and reduce your debt, you're placing the responsibility on someone else's shoulders, which can lead to complacency and inaction on your part. To avoid this mistake, it's important to take ownership of your financial situation and prioritize debt repayment as a personal responsibility. Instead of waiting for someone else to bail you out, take proactive steps to address your debt. To start saving more money for debt repayment, make a budget and make spending cuts. Next, create a repayment strategy and actively adhere to it, making consistent payments to minimize your debt. These are the mistakes you need to avoid to achieve smooth financial success. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up, comment on any mistakes you've made and how you've overcome them, and share it with others so they can also learn about these pitfalls. If you're new to Luxo-Life, we encourage you to subscribe and hit the bell button to stay updated. We look forward to seeing you in our next video, Luxo lovers.